to this beautiful planet. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the decoration of my new Theraphosa apophysis terrarium. This terrarium I actually did build myself. I've never done that before this terrarium, so it was a challenge. Made a lot of mistakes, it took a while, a lot of frustration, but I eventually finished it. I'm quite happy with how it turned out. But in this video, I'll definitely talk more about the process of decorating the terrarium, which is a lot of fun in my opinion. But of course, you try to make it look natural and good, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So I hope you guys enjoy it too. Thanks so much. See ya. So first I put in the leaker pellets. These act like a false bottom, so it's kind of like a drainage system, so the soil doesn't get too damp. And then put down the screen mesh basically to keep the substrate away from the false bottom. And here I'm putting down some charcoal, and the charcoal is to kind of bring more air into the soil. It's also good for plant growth, so that's one of the reasons why I put down a bunch of charcoal. Which the charcoal I actually put in in water first, so it's easier to take apart. Then I put down the first layer of substrate. This is a mix of soil, gravel, sand, rock, like some rocks, yeah, leaves, and stuff like that. Kind of trying to accumulate the natural soil you would find in nature. Then I put in these two nice pieces of cork bark that I had. I put them front to back to make a more 3D effect, like you kind of see into the terrarium, and that it actually gives the terrarium, it looks a little bit bigger and it's more natural. You also see here I got this nice little log that I also put in, and this is to kind of create this cave in the back there. I'm also making other caves around here on the side. I have some cork bark as well, and I'm gonna make a lot of places for the tarantula to hide so she can have some options. Some of these pieces of cork bark will actually be buried. That's basically just to make it as natural as possible. Like when you dig into the earth outside, you'll find rocks and bark and whatnot. I also found this nice piece of wood that I use, so this also is going from front to back. It's kind of like a nice thing where water drips down it, so I'm excited to see if I can get some moss growing on that one. I do have a lot of moss that I have collected and rinsed and everything and prepared for this terrarium. So first I'm putting down in front, because I'm not going to put that much substrate into the front of the terrarium. I do like to be able to see into it through that lower screen, so that's why I'm putting down some moss already. And then I'm building up in the back. I like to put in a lot of substrate. I had to use a lot of substrate for this this build, so I'm kind of just burying everything in the terrarium. I also planted a couple of pods there with one has, well, both actually have an apple tree seed, so we'll see if they actually grow. I'll be excited to see if they do, but yeah, only time will tell. So I will put in a lot of moss in this terrarium, and it's also a lot to do with the humidity requirement of the Theraphosa apophysis. The Theraphosa apophysis do need pretty high humidity, and the moss actually helps keeping the humidity up. So that's why I actually used this much moss for this build. As you can tell, I'm putting in a lot of soil there in the back, and maybe in retrospect, I probably should have put a lot of this soil in kind of as I was putting in the big pieces. But you know, you live and learn. I was kind of excited to start, so kind of just went for it. But it's all right, all good. I got it all in there. Then I missed down the moss a little bit before I continued. I came back with more soil, and here too, it would have been a lot easier for me if I actually had put in some of this before I put in the pieces. I didn't want to take it apart at this point, so I just kind of just shoved it. I just shoved it in there. So it does work, and it actually I fit it all in there in a nice way. So it didn't really mind, but it just made it a little bit harder for me while I was building it because I really had to like stretch my hands and find a good place to place it. And I kind of just push it down a little bit too in there, so it's nice and dense. And I just kept piling on. So you can't really tell here, but I'm making little cave-like entrances, little caves under the cork bark, so the tarantula has a lot of places to hide. And then I'm covering the whole top of the cork bark, and that's basically to make it look like these are pieces of wood, kind of like trees falling down, and over time they've been partially covered by the soil and moss and anything like that. That's kind of the idea behind all of this, and that's why I keep piling on soil on top of it. And I don't know. To me, it it's the whole point is to kind of recreate what I see in nature. I do get all my inspiration from nature, so that's the main goal, and you know, it's a fun project for sure. So after I put in all of this, I kind of put a little more leaf litter on top, a little more leaf in that soil mix, and then I'll eventually put on some more leaf litter at the bottom. And I finally found, if you notice this log, I finally found a place for it, and it actually took me a while to get there. It was a struggle, but I got it. And I put in some more moss. As I said, I wanted to cover it so it kind of looks like this this has been here a while. And after I got all the moss in place, I put down a little bit of the seeds, just a little seed mix, different kinds of seeds. So we'll see if anything grows out of that. Sometimes they grow really well, and sometimes not so much. But it's I like to have some seeds naturally just growing in a terrarium, kind of wild, not placing them. Just let nature take over, basically. After that, I put down some leaves. The leaves really do give a very nice effect on the terrarium. It does look more natural, and it's also a great source of food for isopods. So obviously this terrarium is going to be bioactive, and all of my terrariums are bioactive, but it's good to mention that. And leaves are good for the isopods to eat and also to hide and rummage in. So this is basically the end. I did add some more to the terrarium later, so I'll show you that in the video where I actually put the tarantula in. The terrarium, I'll leave it for a while. I do not like to put in an animal straight away, so I actually have left the terrarium for a little bit, and just in case there's a mold outbreak or something like that, and I can have some time to actually manage that before I let an animal in there, and especially in a terrarium which requires this much humidity. A mold outbreak is very plausible, so I'll just let the ice spots do their thing, and eventually it will turn out good, I hope. So thank you again for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and let me know if you want to see me do another build. Thanks so much. See ya. So I really hope you enjoy that process, and yeah, I can't wait to see you.